Okay folks, Connor Goldson here now. We'll just do the same again. If you wish to ask a question, just use the raise hand function once again. And this time we'll start with Andrew McLean from Radio Clyde, please.
Hi Connor. Given the way the group sits at the moment, how important do you feel it is to get all 3 points tomorrow night?
Yeah, it's a massive game for us. It's a must win. Obviously the first 2 games haven't gone to plan, and if we want to keep playing in Europe after Christmas, then this game's a must win. We're at Ibrox. We've already lost one of our home games, so we need to now go on a run in the group, and that starts tomorrow.
Joshua Barry, please.
Morning, Connor. The manager was speaking again about the level that the players found at the weekend. Despite the dropped points, is there an optimistic look back at the number of chances you created against Hearts and the overall performance?
It's one of those things, isn't it, that when you play for Rangers, you need to win every single game of football, and that's the demands and the expectancies that the club sets and that we set on ourselves. So, yeah, it was good to play well, but at the same time, we didn't get 3 points, so it's disappointing. But I'm sure if we keep creating those chances, then eventually we're going to start taking them. And as I said, it's good that we are creating them, but we really need to start putting them away.
Paul Forsyth, please.
Hi Connor, I was just wondering, there's sort of renewed reports this morning about bids for Nathan Patterson. I mean, as a fellow defender, how is it that a club like Rangers hangs on to a guy like him, and what advice can you give him, when there's stuff like that swirling around him?
Advice-wise, I don't think there's not real much advice I can give him. It's his own unique situation that he's in. It's credit to himself, the hard work that he's put in over the years, but all I can say is for this football club, I think that Nathan Patterson's the future of it, and I think he's an amazing player. Everyone that I've spoke to about him, I speak really highly of him on and off the pitch. He wants to learn, and I've really enjoyed playing next to him when he's played. I think he's a young boy full of energy, but at the same time he's got amazing qualities both going forward and defending. So, as I said, I think he's the future of this football club, and he's a player that I hope that Rangers keep for a long time.
Chris Jack, please.
Morning, Connor. Is there an update on your contract situation? Obviously been in talks with the club for a while now. How close are you, or what's your thoughts on that situation?
No, I haven't heard anything. To be honest, I haven't really spoke to my agent or spoke to the club recently, so I really couldn't tell you where it's at, but I'm just focused on the club and focused on playing football and making sure this football club wins, because, as I said, we've got a massive run of games which starts tomorrow, and I need to be at my best and the team needs to be at the best to win those games.
David Edgar, please. David, do you want a question?
Hi Connor. How difficult is it to get continuity with the injuries and suspensions that have happened? How difficult is it for a back four to adapt to, I think there's been something like there's been 18 different combinations of the back four this season?
It shouldn't be. I think, obviously you'd love to have a settled team week in, week out, but at the same time we play 60 games in a season, so it's impossible for that to happen. The gaffer and the coaching staff and the board have built a squad of 2 players in each position and everyone being ready to play, and that's the standard that we should be at. I think it was exactly the same last year, so just because there's been a few dips in the season this year and a couple of bad results, we can't start blaming it's because there's so many changes. I think we've got a big squad here and every single person's good enough to play and good enough to get to the level that we set, so it's just up to individuals, game in, game out, that when you get your chance, you have to keep your shirt and you have to play well enough to keep that shirt.
Laurie Ann, please.
Hi there. The manager spoke earlier about how he's urging, and the club are urging all the players to be double vaccinated. What's your take on it as a player?
I don't really think there is a take on it. I think that if the science is there telling players to be double vaccinated and telling the whole public to be double vaccinated, then it's something you should do, but at the same time you can't pressure individuals into doing it. I think that everyone has their own beliefs, their own religious beliefs, their own personal beliefs, and their own unique beliefs. I think there's so many health things with different people, such as obviously, I don't know, heart problems, asthma, or whatever a certain individual might have. So I think it'll be unwise to pressure individuals, but if the science is saying that you should be double vaccinated, then I think the majority of players should get it done.
And Andy Devlin to finish, please.
Morning, Connor. We touched on it with the manager. You guys are getting to the game tomorrow night without Glenn Kamara. The case was dropped against Sparta Prague earlier this week for a lack of evidence. Find that incredible when you could hear the boos ringing around the stadium. What was your take on it all, Connor?
Well, I watched it at home, and I was watching it with my wife and my child, and you heard it so early in the game, and it continued throughout the whole game. So the whole lack of evidence is obviously disappointing to hear, but as I've said numerous times, it's not going to change, and there's not much that we can really do anymore to change it. It's going to keep happening. So we just need to try and do as much as we can to try and help educate and try and influence the next generation of people. But as I've said before, I don't think that UEFA are really going to stand up and really help us in that sector.
Just one more, sorry, for Brian Marsbanks from the Mail, please.
Hi Conor, we touched on Nathan Patterson earlier, but you say you see him as the future of Rangers. How a lot of players would be tempted by the lure of the English Premier League, but how important is it he stays at Rangers, gets games under his belt, and kind of fulfills the immense potential that he's got?
Yeah, I think it's important for him to play games, and I think it's important for this football club that is here for many years. As I said, I do believe that he's the future. He's probably one of the best young kids that I've seen, especially defensively. I think as a defender, it's always hard when you're young. I feel like people have dips in the performances and make mistakes, but so far since I've been around him, he hasn't done that, and it's credit to himself that he works so hard every day in training. You can see the attitude that he's got to learn and to improve, and I think that he's done that ever since he's been with the first team. So as I said, obviously the Premier League's the biggest league in the world, and at some stage in his career I know that he'll play at that level, but I think for now and for Rangers Football Club that they need to do all they can to keep him here.
Folks, thanks very much. See you tomorrow if you're coming. Cheers.
Thank you.